Hi, welcome back to the channel. This week we're taking a look at the recently released Minifreak V from Arturia. This is a one-to-one port of their hardware Minifreak. It's exactly the same in every way, even down to the ability to have the patches interchangeable between the hardware and the software. Initially this was only available for the hardware owners, but Arturia in their generosity have now opened it up to everyone so that we can all enjoy the fun. So in terms of layout, we have two oscillators. We go then into the filter and then the FX section. So oscillator 1 has 15 different types. You have the more conventional types or waves such as basic waves, super waves, virtual analog. But then you get the more, let's say, experimental or unusual types such as coupler strong, which is one of my favorites. 2-op FM is nice, formant, modal. And then you have the ability for audio in, so to process external sounds through this synth as well. Oscillator 2 has the majority of those, excluding audio in, but it does add FM, ring mod, and then where I was a little bit confused at the start is you have filters and the destroy, so the distortion in there as well. You'll see when I begin to play with it that these things really kind of threw me at the start because what are effects doing in the oscillator section? But it's really quite straightforward. Then moving into the filter, you have 3 types, so the low pass, band pass, and high pass. Then into the FX, there are 3 different slots. You can only use one of the effects once, so I have in FX2, I have delay, and then FX3 I have reverb. That means that in FX1, reverb and delay are grayed out, they're not available. So there's nothing new there, that's quite common on most synths. What we have though is really quite nice. The phaser and the flanger especially are excellent. And then not forgetting obviously the reverb from Arturia, always fantastic. Then moving along to the second row, we have the chord function, the same way as we had in Pigments. Similarly, we can do scale. Voices is where you choose whether you want it mono or unison, polyphonic or paraphonic. And then when you play back, a little display comes up here in this window to tell you which voice is being used. We have 2 LFOs, which can various retrig options, then whether it's synced or just free running. That's the same for both LFOs. Cycling envelope is essentially a looping envelope, so it's repeatable, whereas envelope itself is just the one shot. Then moving down to the bottom, we have the pitch and mod wheels, macros, which have their wheels as well. I shouldn't say wheels, we have touch strips or virtual touch strips in this case, and then we have the sequencer which can be assigned here as well. Then we get into the mod matrix and the macro assigning, and then the LFO shaper. The LFO shaper is a advanced LFO that is, you will see that there are 2, LFO1 and LFO2 here. The way that you assign these is you draw a little shape in here, let's say. This is an LFO1, I've drawn this, so if I go to wave, we can go through sine, triangle, saw, square, sample and hold with slew, exponential saw, exponential ramp, and then the shaper. So this is the one we just drew in. So you can see that this is being updated in the LFO1 section there. Similarly, if we go to LFO2, draw a little shape in here, and then we go to wave, there we go, that's the shaper that you saw there. In terms of views, there are 3 main pages. We're on the advanced tab now. This is where I'll be spending most of my time. The alternative to that is the basic page here, which is similar to the one they introduced in Pigments. It's good to have it for some people who just like their programming quite basic. That's fine. I'd say it's good to have it. It certainly doesn't impact my workflow, but I don't think I'll be looking at it too often. I think I'll be spending my time in the advanced tab here. And then in the sequencer, you have all the functions for the ARP and the sequencer, of which there are many, as you can see at the top here. Many options. Same as the sequencer, very, very comprehensive. And then down the bottom is where you select your modulation. So as with all Arturia synths, it's very well laid out, it's very clear. So let's hear some sounds. I did say at the start that I was a little bit flummoxed by the routing, let's say, of the synth, but that was only initially, and after playing with it for a few minutes, it's really quite easy to understand. So by that I meant that currently I have a saw in oscillator 1 and then nothing in oscillator 2. If I change oscillator 2 to one of the effects types, so one of the filters, instantly there's nothing on oscillator 1 now, and oscillator 2 has a saw with the volume all the way up. And that's it's actually quite well done because it's not duplicating the output in oscillator 1 now because it's not really relevant anymore. Instead you can see it on oscillator 2. So now with the cutoff, you can see that this saw is now being cut into a sine there, and then back into the saw or resonance. Or if I change the wave shape on the saw in oscillator 1, you can see it change in oscillator 2 window. So it's really quite a clean approach to visualizing this. It's similar with FM and ring mod. The difference here though is you can have them parallel. So at the moment oscillator 1 is down, but I can turn that up. So now I have them simultaneously. I have oscillator 1 and a ring modded version of oscillator 2 with this ring mod option here. However, if I don't want oscillator 1, I can turn that all the way down and just have the ring mod. You can hear that it's changing, but if I change it in oscillator 1, sounds a bit like the Underworld song. I forgot what Underworld song it is. So now that that's all been said, let's try and make a nice sound with it. Oscillator 1 up. I currently just have straight 16ths programmed at the moment. I do really like this wave shaper. Let's add something on oscillator 2. Let's give it some modulation. I do currently have random velocities set in Cubase, so we can change this velocity to velocity aftertouch or velocity and aftertouch. I currently have it on velocity. Let's put this on oscillator 1 timbre. So we can see that up here, amount is being modulated. One trick that I quite like is in the matrix here, you can see there are 4 pre-populated slots. So pitch 1 and 2, oscillator 1 wave, oscillator 2 timbre, and cutoff. Then the remaining slots are freely assignable. What you do is you click on the plus here, and if it's already assigned, you'll see that it pops up in blue. Or if it's something new, let's say this one, cutoff for the filter, again it pops up in blue, that's already there. Resonance is a new one, so now it is out of that after cutoff. So to show that again, the next one is none, that's blank, but let's put oscillate or envelope amount in, and you can see now that that's populated. So it's a really quick solution to completing this mod matrix. Really nice filter. This is a Oberheim modeled filter and it just sounds absolutely lush. Let's give the cutoff some modulation. Let's use LFO2 for that. Let's go with triangle. Let's give some movement to this decay as well. Let's make it a bit more random. So as I said before, we can select that here. Let's put that on velocity also. We can also add some notes on random, which is this keyboard random. Let's put that to oscillator 1, the wave. Also maybe the cutoff. So currently we have the delay on, it's a ping pong delay, and then we have the reverb. Let's put a phaser maybe. And now with a kick and bass. So there we have it. Very, very nice synth, as usual, from Arturia. And I would definitely recommend at least getting the demo, have a play with it, and yeah, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks, bye-bye.